Everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the Breaking Bad show. I'm Chad Bruckner. Ryan CHARTRAND will be here with us in a second. Thank you so much for tuning in. Big day for the Bruckners, a big week. We're getting ready to go to Disney, packing our bags, and kids are really excited. And this is a practice in mindfulness that the clock is always running for all of us, and we have to be mindful to live today, live in the moment, create great memories. We all know about tomorrow. It is not guaranteed. So let's live today, maximize our memories and experiences today. On the show, we are going to talk about forgiveness. Ryan and I are going to be going back and forth and just having a conversation about forgiveness. It's such an important topic, I think, especially in these times we're in now. Everybody's digging their heels in, battling with each other. And I share a personal experience that happened very recently, a couple weeks ago, about my journey in forgiveness and about somebody who wronged me and betrayed me. And it's just a good example of if I can do it, and I'm a klutz and a moron, we can all do it and extend that olive branch, forgive people. Remember, when we carry around baggage, we're the ones who suffer. We carry around that resentment, sits on our shoulder, the anger in our hearts, the bitterness. We're the ones that suffer. We're carrying it around all day. So this isn't a story about forgiving and letting go. Not forgetting, but forgiving, because I don't want to carry baggage. I don't want to be negative and resentful. And it made all the difference in my life. So I hope you enjoy the story. I hope you get something out of it. Hopefully you can apply it to something in your life. Please share with us too. We're always looking to learn and get new tips and tricks how to navigate this life, because it is a crazy life sometimes. So thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you. This is the Breaking Bad show.
So now, Chad, I know when we talked about filming this episode, you had a topic that you wanted to speak about and an experience that you wanted to share, and then that got me thinking, and I thought of one that I wanted to share too. So, what was it that you wanted to get into today?
Yeah, let's get into it, brother. So getting into wellness. I've been really focusing and picking up my game in the spiritual wellness. Again, it's a pendulum swinging back and forth, and some days are going to be great in this and not great at other, but I've really been focusing on my spirituality and picking that up and really being mindful to it, because that's a big part of my life. And it's a big part of who I am. And I just want to make sure that's not slipping. So something happened a couple days ago, and I'm an emotions on your sleeve kind of person. I mean, when I'm upset, you'll know it. When I'm angry, you'll know it. When I'm happy, you'll know it. It's just my personality. And I'm not really too good at hiding those visceral emotions. People that know me can see that. So something happened the other day, and I'm not going to get into the details of it, but I'll say that somebody who betrayed me, somebody who was a friend and an ally that turned kind of on me, so to speak, betrayed me. I guess I already said that. Did something else. And I purposely have set up boundaries, healthy boundaries and limits. And frankly, I haven't had contact with this person, but we all have people in our lives that we're trying to handle and deal with. And so I've set up boundaries in my mind that this person's not going to do anything to me anymore. They're not going to hurt me. They're not going to affect my life in any which way. There's only one aspect they could do that, one situation that's going on that's now over. And that came into my head 2 days ago, or yesterday, 2 days ago. And basically they did something else to me that was unkind. It was selfish. It was improper. There are a lot of negative connotations I could say to it. And I was upset and I was angry and I was fired up, and I called my wife. I called my really good friend. I called my father, and I really wanted to get a good understanding of what I'm feeling and what I can do to respond without doing it emotionally. Cause I always do react emotionally to things, cause I get so fired up of, I work so hard to be selfless and be there for other people that when someone does me dirty, it blows my mind how people can live that way, but that's human. It's humanity and people do it. So we can't control that. We can only control our thoughts and actions and our responses. So I prayed right in the middle of the day. I was so upset. I prayed, and God communicated to me, sent this chill down my arms. And basically he told me to forgive and move on, especially considering this is the last opportunity this person would have exposure to me to hurt me and to do something nice, not nice. And instead of going to war and picking a battle, which I'm absolutely in the right on, there's actually, I have, I don't want to say evidence is a bad word, but I have information to kind of corroborate that I'm right and this person's wrong, but that's not what this is about. And I can't be the best version of myself. I can't be the best father, the best husband, the best friend, the best entrepreneur, the best wellness instructor, whatever these silly titles I have. I can't be any of those things if I'm not going to embody what it means to live virtuously and be and forgive people like Jesus Christ will want me to. So I forgave him. And I moved on. And something like what happened 2 days ago would have bothered me for days, maybe weeks in the past. And it was the first time in my life that I prayed. I prayed for them to have peace. I prayed for God to heal their hurting heart. That was it. I forgave him. I'm not mad. I'm not resentful. I moved on, and I'm not carrying any chip on my shoulder, any resentment. And I went to sleep peacefully that night. And I woke up yesterday like $1 million and carried on. Haven't thought about it since. So I thought, what a great example to bring up, to say that, we don't have to let people affect us unless we choose. And I come from experience of I let people bother me. I let people get under my skin. People knew they knew my personality, and I was kind of ripe for it being taken advantage of, because I am kind of too trusting and sensitive and selfless and caring of others. So it was the first time that I said, I'm not going to let you hurt me, and I'm not going to carry around any baggage or weight. I'm going to pray. I'm going to feel bad for you. Obviously you have a hurting heart to do that to somebody else, another human being. And I'll just pray that God can heal you and heal your pain and your trauma. And I'm going to move on and continue my life and continue serving other people. So I just wanted to share that. I was pretty proud of myself, to be honest, because I called my wife, called my dad, just told him, like, man, I really did it. I'm building on my resiliency. I'm not letting people like that affect me anymore. So just want to share that.
That's amazing, Chad. That's awesome. And, I have to, and just from my experience and life experience, number one, I have to say that betrayal has got to be the most difficult thing to forgive.
100%. 100%. My wife had a boyfriend for 7.5 years, from high school all the way through college and after college. And she wanted to get married to him. And he had a whole double life, and he had another girlfriend, and for years that she had no idea about. I mean, it was unbelievable. And she would always talk about betrayal was the most hurtful thing of everything. With somebody that you expect to be loyal, somebody you expect to be in your inner circle, somebody you expect to be a teammate and a friend, and really a close confidant. And when they betray you, and now that I experience that, it is, man, for some people, probably it's not that big of a deal, but for me, it was gut wrenching.
And the other thing, Chad, and it makes me, I'm proud of you. I'm proud that we have the opportunity to do the show together, and it makes me happy to be connected with you and be able to call you a friend. Is how you said that you realized that you could not live in your values carrying that, not forgiving and carrying that weight with you. You couldn't live at your values. And I think so many people don't even consider their values. They're so consumed with whatever that emotion is, that hatred, that frustration, whatever it is that they're carrying towards a specific individual. And I think it's a big ego thing that they can't let that go.
Yeah. And I think it's pain. I think when people are unkind to each other, and especially people that were tight at one point and that betrayal takes over, I guess there's really no other way to say it, that they must be experiencing some sort of pain in their life, where ego isn't enough. Especially this one person I haven't talked to in over a year, haven't seen in over a year, to still carry that level of resentment towards me for whatever reason, jealousy, envy, ego related narcissism. Obviously this person is hurting. And I do feel bad. I do feel bad, because no human being should have a heart that hurts that much to hurt people that you don't even really see anymore, talk to. It's unbelievable. Actually, and I have Matthew 6:14. I just wanted to read, because this really helped me when I was praying, is for if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. And I read this multiple times, and I was like, I can't, like you said, I can't go against my values. And we don't get to pick and choose what we live by and what we don't. Who we forgive and who we don't. It doesn't work that way, at least in my mind. So if we're going to be all in, we got to be all in. And I can't forgive if you, as my friend, say something to, disrespect me, but you're having a bad day and apologize and say, oh, no problem, right? I forgive you. I can't turn around to my enemy and also tell him, well, no, I'm not going to forgive you. I'll forgive this guy, but I'm not going to forgive you. To me, it doesn't work that way. So that was part of my healing, and it was cathartic. I moved on. This is now a person I really have no reason to have any relationship with ever again. And, but I don't hate them. I'm not mad. I'm not resentful. Again, I'll pray that their heart heals.
I think I need to take a page out of your book, Chad. And, I'm not going to sit over here and act like I'm preaching or anything, because forgiveness is something that for me has been very difficult throughout my life. And it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of years that I've really been on a personal development journey and really working towards becoming the best version of myself. But there are things, one thing, and this was something I actually, when I was having some tough times about 10 years ago, when I was talking to someone, this came up when I was talking to the therapist, and it was an incident from when I was a teenager. And in high school, I worked at a restaurant, and I'll cut the long story short, is that one night at the restaurant, I was kind of defending myself and one of my friends against the cook, who was a little overly angry and everything. And me standing up for myself and my friend, who that chef was harassing, ended up getting me fired from the restaurant. And now, not that had a big effect on my life or anything, but I think I carried that sense, that feeling that I had been wronged for so long in my life. And I mean, at that point, we're talking, over half of my life later, and I would think about it and get angry. And
I'm sorry, guys.
I was just realizing that weight that I'm carrying. And I remember, my therapist telling me, well, you really need to forgive. Close your eyes and forgive. And I remember telling him, I don't know how. And so I guess that's one thing I'll definitely, since the anger of that has gone away, as I said, since I've been on my personal development journey, and I realized that, I'm not living in the past. I'm living for now and what's ahead, and who I'm working to become and the things I'm working to do. So it doesn't have that effect on me anymore. But how did you find it in yourself? And for those of us that might be struggling with forgiveness, how did you find it in yourself to be able to forgive someone that wronged you in that type of way, especially that number one thing in betrayal?
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever been able to do it. So I'm 41 years old. I think much like you, as I've been on my evolution, my growth pattern is, I don't want to carry around extra weight. No. And resentment is extra weight. And it distracts us from using that time and energy. We could be focused on other things. And the funny thing, when we are angry and we resent people and we're unable to forgive people, we're the ones that suffer. We're the ones. We're the ones sitting around ruminating on it or thinking about it and mad at the injustice and how could somebody do this and blah, blah, blah. We're the ones that suffer. Our families suffer. Our jobs suffer because we're taking that energy away from ourselves. So I just didn't want to do it. I don't want to do it anymore. And frankly, I want to set a better example for my kids. Someone's going to wrong me again in my life. Someone's going to wrong them. That's going to happen. Obviously, if you have a physical safety issue, that's one thing. But otherwise, if you're a genuine person and you're a good person, people see that, and you don't need to argue that. You don't need to advocate for that. Just continue to be you and live virtuously and tune out the noise and forgive the haters, because you have a beautiful life to live. And why spend any energy or any minute of your day focused on people that have no bearing on your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just thinking about it over the last minute since since the last thing I said, I think one of the let me kind of lead up to it. And I would have a difficult time even forgiving my wife for silly little things. I'd get so frustrated and we'd end up having a little spat or whatever. I'd give her the cold shoulder for days until waiting for her to apologize and for her wrongdoing that I felt she did to me. And when I got over that, and I kind of for lack of a better term, I got off my high horse and was able to actually see those things that didn't matter, and being able to when she would do those things that before would I'd get so upset about, she does those same things. And now when she does that, I walk over to her with a smile on my face and give her a hug.
What a mature response to that.
When I learned to be able to forgive my wife so easily for things that were seemingly insignificant, I think that is a big portion of when I started to release all of that other stuff that I couldn't forgive in my past as well.
Forgiveness is a deep issue when you really think about it. Because not only do we have to forgive other people throughout our lives, we have to forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's really deep seated when you think about it. I mean, that's where guilt and regret and resentment, all these things are tied into forgiveness and the mistakes we make throughout our lives. And it's funny, in 2017, my youngest, Marcus, was born, and my wife and I were married almost 10 years at that point. And it's interesting talking to her now about it. I mean, it's fine now, but in that time I was a detective. It was our third kid. So naturally we were just more stressed, and every kid you add to it, it's relative, adds more stress. And during that year of 2017, she stayed home with our youngest. So in the middle of the night when he was crying, I was a very hands-on dad with both my kids, my first two. But for some reason, I think it was burnout. I think it was compassion fatigue. I think it was a lot of things going on with me in my life, in my job, in my career, that when she said to me, "Hey, he's crying in the middle of the night, can you get up and take this one?" I would say, "No, I got to work in the morning. That's your job. You're staying home. What's the point of you staying home if you can't get up and take care of the baby?" And I go back to bed. And it came to a head in like September of 2017. She's like, "You're being unkind. You're not being thoughtful. And we got to figure this thing out and talk about it, because I love you, but I'm not going to tolerate that." And she was 100% right, 100% right. Mm-hmm. And looking back on, like, man, I was probably struggling more than I actually realized. Because in my mind, like you said, I was right. She was wrong. I was right. But really, I was wrong. And I know people probably watching and be like, "No, I would do the same thing. If she's working, if you're working and she's staying at home, that's her job." But that's not how our marriage worked. That's not how our relationship was. So I certainly can't tell anybody how about their relationship. But for us, it was never like that. We were always a team. We were always divide and conquer. So yeah, looking back, that was not a proud moment of mine. But again, I use those experiences instead of, I forgive myself, and I use it as a learning lesson. And those things are going to come back in our lives again, where things are going to happen to us, and we have to be mindful and listen to that feedback. One thing for everything that God gave me was self-awareness. So, when my wife brings up these kind of things, instead of just reacting emotionally or not valuing the things she said or discounting what she says, I'll think about it and I'll reflect on it, and I'll come back and be like, "Yeah, you're right. I got to do a better job at that." So I'm grateful God gave me that gene, because it could easily go the other way where I just dig my heels in. And I think so many of us do that. And I've done that before too. Don't get me wrong. I picked the wrong hill to die on many times. But yeah, definitely as I get older, I'm learning to listen more, reflect more, come back and make an educated and informed response, and then also be willing to make those changes.
There's, one thing I'll stress for our listeners is this all comes with growth and awareness. If you're not there yet, don't worry, just work on it. Try a little harder, try different things. Find different books that you can read on topics that you're struggling with. There's a book out there for absolutely everything that is that's out there. So one, as far as the with my wife, one great book that I read that she actually gave me is called The Way of a Superior Man. And there's a lot of great stuff in there that helps you kind of solidify and make that relationship better if there are some disagreements with your spouse. And
Bro, I love it. Even when you and me are doing a show, you're doing a book recommendation. I love it, man. I feel like you have like 1,000 books you're ready to throw down at us at any given time.
Reading the right books has contributed to changing my life.
Dude, and that's the growth mindset. Yeah, I think that's great. Sharing that with people to realize, hey, you don't have to have all the answers. But guess what? There's a book out there that does. All you have to do is make a little effort and go buy it, download it, and read it, and commit yourself to learning it.
Yeah. Before we wrap it up, what sort of touched on it, but let me just ask so we can stress it here at the end of the show. How much better do you feel? How much weight was taken off of you when you made the decision to forgive and went through with it and were able to forgive?
Oh, an immense amount of weight. And frankly, I didn't realize how much weight I was carrying around until I shed it. It's one of those things you don't realize, but you don't know what you don't know. And, shedding that burden, man, it just brings me a lot of peace. And frankly, I look myself in the mirror and I'm proud of the way I handled it, because I always want to do what's right. What God would want me to do, what my parents want me to do, what my family wants me to do, my siblings, my kids, my wife. So it's always rooted in that. And I have to look in the mirror and make sure I'm checking all those boxes, because making myself happy, but not making the people in my inner circle not happy, to me, that's not okay for me. So, but I also believe self-care is important too. So there's the balance, but being able to look in the mirror and know, you know what, not only did I preach it, not only did I recommend that to my kids or my close friends, but I did it. And it was a proud moment for me. And it was a building block for future. When it happens again, I'm going to pray again. And I'm going to ask God to help me forgive this person. And I'm going to continue to try to do that every time. So I'm not carrying around the extra weight. I don't want to do that.
Just like exercise, like we talked about at the beginning, the more you forgive and exercise that muscle, the better you are at it.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And dude, like I think about our relationship. I care very much what you think about me. I care very much about making sure you're happy as your friend. I care very much about making sure you feel fulfilled in your life. And when I shoot you a text, hey, how's everything going? Like, these are all things that I really care for you about. So if you were to tell me something or say something to me, that I would harbor that and listen to that and really reflect, why are we spending energy and time listening or even entertaining the information that we hear third hand through the rumor mill or anything from somebody that we don't even talk to or wouldn't take advice from? It's mind blowing. And it's not a high and mighty and self-righteous thing. I think it's just setting up healthy boundaries. And I want to commit my energy and time to things that mean the most to me, like our show. And I love our show and my family and my business. And, I want to grow Breaking Bad. I want to grow this thing, and I can't grow it. And we can't grow it if I'm worried about things that are outside of my control, or if you're worried about things outside of your control. That's not productive at all.